Hey guys, welcome back to the Habs Tonight channel. My name is Annik and I'm joined with our co-host Damen and Marco. Boys, thank you so much for hopping on today. We've got a busy couple of minutes with you guys here since a lot has happened this week. Let's just go through it quickly. We're going to touch on the Pezzetta suspension, whether it was worth 2 games or not. Carey returns. I think that should be like the main thing right now. What is goalie interference? This is a weekly topic. We still don't know the answer, so maybe you can give us some comments on what you think. Armia is now back in Finland. We're going to touch about the war zone, because that's basically what it is, let's be honest. Is the honeymoon phase over with Martin St. Louis? To be discussed. And can we finish last? It's, yeah, let's get back to that. So, first of all, Michael Pezzetta suspended 2 games for a head hit, I guess, on TJ Oshie. Personal opinion, probably worth the suspension, yes, but we see this so often that it's not even looked at. So what do you guys think?
I definitely think, in my opinion, as big as a fan as I am of Pezzetta, I kind of think it is worth the suspension, even though it is his first time being suspended. He goes for the far shoulder, and on the far shoulder, you're obviously going to pass the head, and he should have gone for the closer shoulder on TJ Oshie, and that's what led to the suspension. I do remember he was penalized for this on the play, so I definitely think it was worth the suspension, but hopefully Pezz will learn from this and try not to go for the far shoulder in future.
Yeah, I definitely also believe that it was warrant of a suspension. I don't know if 2 games maybe was a little bit harsh, but you do look at the angle that he was approaching when he went to go hit Oshie, very, very near the boards, he was basically hugging, and at the angle that he was approaching him, it was kind of certain that he was going to make head contact regardless. And that's exactly what happened. He didn't make any sort of body contact. So suspension, yes, it was a hit to the head. 2 games, considering the fact that maybe he didn't really have much else he could have done in that position. I don't know, but definitely minimum 1 games. He did end up getting the 2. Could be up for debate how many games, but definitely suspension warranted, I think.
So if we're going to keep suspending players for these types of hit, I mean, should it be more consistent? Because we see this kind of still often, and it's either not looked at or it's a minor fine. So if they're making an example out of Pezzetta, should they make an example out of everybody?
I completely agree. They should make an example of everyone. In my opinion, everyone's the same. They're a player in the league, and no matter if you're a superstar or you're a fourth-line grinder, you should all get suspended the same. We do know the NHL, of course, has had a lot of financial losses during the pandemic, and it's caused them to fine a lot of more of their superstars. I'm sure we know the Tom Wilson incident. We do know the chaos it started, and it, of course, warranted just a $5,000 fine when it should have been a lot more than that because he was a repeat offender, but just definitely an interesting situation, and I just hope everyone's treated the same in the future.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sort of hockey play that we see happen all the time, very close to the boards there. Like I just mentioned, there's not much you can really do in that scenario, so therefore people do get hit quite often, and there's not always suspensions that are laid out for these type of hits to the head, but we saw Pezzetta get suspended. So I definitely do believe that there's a lot of hits like this that happen in the regular season that kind of go under the radar or don't catch people's attention right away, and therefore don't get any sort of consequences attached to them. But I definitely do believe that if you're going to go out and present a suspension for Pezzetta and kind of use this as an example for what the sort of guidelines are when it comes to these sort of hits, I definitely do believe that there should be more consistency because it is a hockey play that happens very often. So I definitely do believe that this should be a sort of benchmark for what these kind of hits should represent and what kind of suspension should be warranted for these hits.
We're going to get back to NHL consistency because suspensions aren't the only thing. But to move on, Carey Price has returned. We've been awaiting this for so long, you guys. First of all, I just want to begin by saying our condolences to the Mike Bossy family, the organization. I mean, the hockey world lost a legend last week, so we're smoked this week. Last week, I'm all screwed up in my days, but very big loss for the hockey community here. So our condolences to the the Islanders organization and the family of Mike Bossy. So Carey Price gets a huge ovation when he steps onto the ice, not only for warm-ups, but when he steps onto the ice to start the game. If not for that memorial for Mike Bossy, I'm pretty sure that ovation would have stayed a lot longer. So what did you guys think about not only the ovation, but how Carey Price played? We did lose 3-0. So let's get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, Carey Price played phenomenal in my opinion. Unfortunately, as much as it hurts to say, we haven't scored in front of Carey Price since Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which, I mean, Game 4, I mean. Annik, fact checker right there in the background, of course. In Game 4, yeah, it just still hurts that we haven't scored in front of him. The games he has played well enough for us to win. And I'm pretty sure he has a 2.03 goals against average, which is really good. And it's top in the league right now, considering all the goalies. And if we have just improved our scoring in those games in my mind would have been easy wins for us. But Carey Price has been playing really well, and I'd love to see a full summer of recovery for him. And I've been really liking his play so far. And then the next year, it's definitely going to be an adventure to see what happens with Carey Price.
Yeah, I think it was really lovely to see the kind of ovation that Price got. I mean, I was not surprised at all with how the Habs fans really came through for him. I mean, the guy is the heartbeat of our team. When you think of the Habs, Carey Price, undoubtedly one of the first names that would come up. He's really one of the staple pieces of our organization, and he has been through a lot in his injuries and in his personal journeys with his mental health as well and his recovery. So when we see him really, like, the fans giving him that ovation that he deserves was really, really good to see. And his performance, I thought, was really good as well. He really kept us in the game. He didn't really look like he missed a beat when not yesterday, not on his debut either. And I mean, yeah, it would be nice if he had a little bit more goal support. And if Sorokin was an absolute brick wall during that game against the Islanders, who knows what could have happened. And the goals that he allowed, I mean, one of them was a 3-on-0, and one of them was an absolute snipe that they had no chance on. So I mean, nothing to fault Carey Price for. He looks like he's back to his normal level of play, and he had made it clear that he wasn't going to make his return unless he was 100%. So it's really good to see that he is at that sort of competitive level that we know that he could be. Obviously, he doesn't have quite the support that he has in front of him like he did last year and in prior years, just because of the terrible season, just everything going wrong for us this season. But no, it's really good to see him back at 100% with the team. And now he has the whole summer to take the time, recover how he wants, practice how he wants, take part in whatever sort of activities to get his confidence, get his game back in check. And then come training camp and come next season, I think we'll see good old Carey Price like we know that he is, that we're very used to.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing him talk in his interviews, he's smiling, he's joking around. We've never seen that side of Carey Price, and we're seeing a lot of these with the players right now too. So fantastic to have Carey back, and I think you guys said it right. I mean, he played 2 incredible games. I mean, your goalie gives you 4 games. I mean, one of them is an empty netter. So 4 goals in 2 games. He's giving you the chance to win, but the front couldn't do anything once again. So it's a little bit tough, but I mean, it is what it is. Although we did score 1 goal, a beautiful goal by Tyler Pitlick, who played a hell of a game yesterday. Let's be honest. That goal is called off because of goaltender interference. So we still don't know what goaltender interference is. We talk about it every single week. If anybody wants to explain that to us, like we're, I don't know, 6 months old, please feel free to do it. But yesterday, I think we can agree that that call was warranted, seeing as Dauphin clearly pushes the defense into his own goalie. So, Damon, what did you make of it? Should it have been a good goal, or was it the good call?
As much as it pains me to say, as soon as I knew, I heard on the PA system when I was watching the game, challenge for goalie interference, I knew, okay, great, this is coming back. In my mind, I just knew it because, in my opinion, Dauphin, like, he definitely did push the defense, and I'm pretty sure it was, I don't know if it was John Merrill or Jordy Ben, both former Habs. I don't remember exactly what the defenseman was in that play, but it's just funny to look at because Dauphin just knocks him, and in my opinion, it was the right call, but just it takes away from Tyler Pitlick's beautiful goal scoring opportunity and a beautiful play created by Ryan Paling. So Yeah, unfortunately, the right call, but just the consistency just never been there. And as soon as that happened, I go on Instagram and I see a clip of JT Miller pulling Carey Price out of the net with his skate and seeing that count as a good goal. No clue
Oh
goalie
boy.
interference is. Gary Bettman, you want to come on the show and explain to us, or any of your referee buddies, or please someone explain to it to me. I do not know. We do not know what it is, and we need it explained.
Yeah.
We would absolutely love an explanation on Habs tonight. Please, please make your way onto here. I'm sure the fans would love it too. But no, I mean, I think it's very, very obvious that that was sort of goal interference. I think it was a well-warranted call. The only problem is that we see this happen all the time in the league, particularly against us, where we've had other players push our players into the goalie, but they call those good goals. So I think it's always just a repetitive circle that goes around to the point of consistency and how there isn't any when it comes to this particular topic. I mean, there's a lot of officiating that has no consistency, but I think that goal interference is one of the biggest topics where we just have no line of consistency of what is goal interference and what isn't. We're still very unsure at this point. And another example yesterday, I'm not debating the fact that it was goal interference because it was definitely push player into the goalie, but we see this happen all the time in the league and against us. So
Exactly.
it just raises a bunch of questions as where's the consistency and what actually is goal interference in the NHL.
Fully agreed. I mean, if it would have been any other team, I mean, it's probably a good goal. So
Oh yeah,
we're what? We're 2-25 this season or something. Like, it's absolutely insane. To keep going, so I'm gonna consider the Habs right now as a war zone since nobody's there anymore. So we got Yoel Armia that has flown back to Finland late last night to be back at home for a family matter. So we just hope that everything's okay on that end and that's nothing too serious. So
yeah.
hopefully everything's okay with the Armia family, which brings us into our next topic of the injured. So Paul Byron has been playing with a lingering injury, according to Martin St. Louis, which cost him to not be able to finish the game last night. So Paul Byron out. Jonathan Drouin in a sling. And who else? Am I missing
Jake
someone?
Allen.
Jake Allen. Jake
Mm.
Allen's hurt. Everybody's hurt. It's just been that type of season. We have lost the most games this season due to injuries. Carey Price suiting up on Saturday was the 46th player of the season to suit up, which is a record from I think 2004. Absolutely insane.
nuts.
So, Damon, thoughts?
Just I'm gonna say this, Graham Ryban. Like I can't thank you enough because of how much you've had to work through all this. You've definitely been working overtime and dealing with all the injuries, COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's insane.
Oh wow.
yeah, it's been
Oh,
pretty
sorry,
insane.
Jake
just how-
Evans.
yeah, Jake Evans
was
as
sick
well
too.
now.
Yeah,
I just can't believe
insane.
how many guys have been injured. This is the most injured team I've seen since 2015-16, and that was not a fun season to watch. And this year, even more injuries. When I think things can't get worse, they somehow do. And we just
Yeah.
wish I would well recovery for everyone. But yeah,
Yeah, I think at least we could say, despite the fact that we've just been absolutely screwed over by COVID and by injuries this season, that it's happening to us at a point in the season where we're not competitive. We're not a team that's fighting for playoffs. You know, if we were a team that were in the playoff race and then we would have these sort of injuries come up, it would be a lot more devastating than right now. Right now, the players could take their time to go into the offseason, do what they need to do to get healthy, and then they got no stress going into the next season. But there's a lot of teams. I'm just naming a few, for example, Tristan Jarry being injured for the Penguins, Freddie Anderson for the Canes, Drew Doughty for the Kings. I mean, these are all playoff teams who are losing very notable players for them. So despite the fact that we have all this bad stuff happening to us for the season, at least we could stay Habsive and say that this is happening at a time where we can afford it to happen, if that makes sense.
It's honestly the only positive thing about all of this is that it's happening when we're not making the playoffs. Aside from that, it's just a complete
Right.
crap show. But which brings me into my last two topics here with you guys is it's been trending that the honeymoon phase with Martin St. Louis might be over because it's just been not nice these couple of games. So want to get you guys' take on, is the honeymoon phase actually over, or are we just getting screwed right now with all the injuries? It's the end of the season. The boys are tired, or is it just coming to that end? We're not scoring. There, like I I mean, the fight is still there, but just want to get you guys' thoughts on, is it actually over, or are we popping a story here for nothing?
I personally don't think it is over. I think the honeymoon phase was the start of something great, and as I'm sure we know, so many players were traded at the deadline. Kulak, Lehkonen, Toffoli, of course,
Sure.
before the deadline. Sherratt, yeah. So many players were traded at the deadline, and they were all key contributors and played really well under MSL. And as for sure, we even know right now with the injuries and with all the trades, we barely have anyone left. So, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
About it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's working with pretty much an AHL team, so with a lot of AHL players, but
yeah,
so many guys can go down to the Laval Rocket at the end of this year.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, obviously, when you have players who are traded mid-season, especially considering the hot start that the group under Martin St. Louis had during that, especially when you start getting rid of key players, not only in the lineup, but in the locker room, some guys who have been with the team for a very long time, that's something you have to take into consideration. The overall sort of morality or the overall team feeling is just not the same. And I mean, we haven't been lucky, obviously, with the injuries that we started to pile up recently with our team, but I don't think the honeymoon phase is over for the long term. I guess you could kind of say that for the short term until the end of the season, I don't think we're going to see anything sort of spectacular. Hopefully tomorrow against the Flyers, because they're a team who's kind of down in the dumps, just like we are this season. And I'm going to see them tomorrow. So hopefully I get to see them take down the Flyers in person. But yeah, I have full faith in the Martin St. Louis effect with a healthy team for an entire season, not just for half of it when players are getting traded and injured left, right, and center. So yeah, for the end of the season, I guess we could kind of set our expectations a little bit lower than what we've been seeing recently.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for next season and what we could see from Martin St. Louis in this group going into next year.
Yeah. Brings us into our last topic here. Can we finish last? It seems like it's a race between the Coyotes and us again, which we're what, 2 points ahead, 1 point ahead, Damon?
2 points ahead, yeah. They have a game in hand though, so yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be I guess, a trending question, since Marco, you want them to win tomorrow, and I want them to win on Saturday because I'm going to the game in Ottawa. So one of us is going to have to compromise here, if not both.
It'd be better for a team if both of them do.
Exactly. There's still the chance that even if we do finish last, it's not guaranteed that you're winning the draft lottery here. And to add to our luck this season, that would probably happen to us. We would lose the trade and get like the 5th pick or something. You know, it's just something that might happen. Do we anticipate that the boys can finish last, or are we going to be satisfied if we finish in the top 3 and end up picking somebody else other than Shane Wright, who has been bouncing right now from first, second, third? Is he the right guy? Damon, prospect, go ahead. You are mini Craig Button, so knock yourself out.
Yeah, Shane Wright, in my opinion, he is the real deal if we do draft him. But if we aren't able to draft him, there's still a lot of other parts that or pieces that we could draft. Slavkovsky, yeah. Just imagine the perfect winger for Cole and Nick, and Yuri Slavkovsky, just right there. But I still think it is possible because of the game in hand that Arizona has, and they've been so inconsistent this year. We do know that they pretty much created a non-NHL team, to put it nicely, because of a lot of the guys there. I can tell you this: they were placed on waivers. No one would claim them, but I just find
it's a recycle bin.
Pardon?
It's a recycle bin.
Yeah, it's a recycle bin. Yeah, just throw them dead contracts. No, Weber was nearly traded. Could easily be revisited there. Yeah. I'd love to see Mike Hoffman go there this summer to get rid of that $4.5 million, to put it nicely.
Marco, do you want to touch on Mike Hoffman committing to the Tankatron lately?
I mean, kudos to him, I guess, because we need it. I mean, obviously, right now it's kind of a very...
Yeah,
someone's on board with the tank. No, I mean, obviously, it's a very close race for the last spot here. I mean, it's kind of granted that we're going to get either or second to last, or I think that we can kind of consider that as a win. Consider that it is the lottery. It's not like the NFL where you finish last, you automatically get first place. There is a chance that you could still get first place or first overall pick. I mean, if you don't finish last place, or you could not even get the second overall pick and you could get somewhere between third and fifth. But regardless of the position that we end up drafting, I just think that there's so much draft potential, and it's such a deep class that we have this year, and so many good prospects that could benefit our organization going forward. So honestly, we'll look for May 16th to see where exactly we do end up drafting. But regardless of the case, as long as we get somewhere in that top 5, ideally top 3, I think we're going to get a stud for the future, no matter what. Obviously, it'd be nice to have Shane Wright, but obviously there's a bunch of other prospects too that could really fill our needs. So it's going to be a tight race towards last. If I'm being honest, I kind of think the Coyotes got this, but I'm going to hope that more players pull Mike Hoffman and commit to the tank. But obviously, as professional athletes, they won't do that. So we'll see. Hopefully, we could get some luck from the Coyotes. And the Habs could only win when me and Annik are going to see them play, and then just absolutely blow it for the rest of the year.
That's the dream. What was I going to say? I hate when I lose my train of thoughts. I was going to say, yeah, even if, let's say, the Coyotes do finish last, I mean, there's always that little possibility that karma's on our side and they lose the first pick and that we gain it.
Yep.
I mean, you know.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Hockey gods, if you're listening.
2018?
Yes, I do. My favorite year. Aside from that, yeah, it's just whatever we do for the first time in a while, I think we can all agree that this is the first season, well, for myself actually, that I have 100% trust in the front office as to what they're going to do. We've seen it, what they were able to get for trades. The vision is finally clearer. We have a freaking development coach, so, you know, that's going to come in handy at some point. Full trust in what the front office is going to do. So even if we pick from 1 to 5, like you said, Damon, I think we're going to get a pretty good player here, and we're going to be set in the long run. So it might take a little bit more time than we thought. Maybe we can tank for Bidall next season too. Like, you never know what's going to happen. And I guess we'll go from there, right?
Yeah.
So this basically concludes our show for today. So I just want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to find the link here, and here we go. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We appreciate all the feedback, all the comments. Let us know in the comments what you think about the topics that we chose on today. We would love to hear about it. We'll answer you guys, obviously, too. Don't forget to grab your merch at habstonight.net. We're going to have some cool summer stuff coming out here. And if you have any ideas of stuff you might like, again, in the comments, drop us some ideas. We might just make them happen for you. I think that's about it, right, guys?
Smash that like button.
Thank you, Damon. There you go. Perfect. So, boys, thank you so much for hopping on with me today. And to all the fans, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week. It's a short week. Enjoy it. And we'll see you guys soon. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.